Welcome back to another episode of the Hobby Chop Podcast, the podcast for the people. You got me, Big Ken, and we got Zip in the house. Zip, how are you doing?
Doing good. Feels weird doing back episodes so quick back to back, but a good weird. It's good.
I know. And there's a lot of pressure to go live. You and I have been on the phone today. I had to travel across the state, and the whole way back is like, thank God there were no cops out because I was cranking to get back here, and just in the nick of time to get here, and because when you advertise the time, you have to be on time, right?
Yeah, no, I know because we were texting and I was like, I already used Chat GPT to make the 8:15 promotional poster, and I felt really lucky. I was even able to get that done. So yeah, I posted it and I was like, we're doing 8:15, I guess, because I already posted it.
And that's the way it's gonna be, right?
And that's how we're doing it. Yep.
Kamikaze Sports Cards in the house. Thanks for jumping in. So what do we have on tap for tonight, sir?
Well, it's called another. I'm finishing another one from Maine Beer Company because I went back up.
Oh, is this another sponsorship?
Possibly you, investors. Possibly you, dude. That'd be awesome. They also have a fantastic pizza up there. I remember the Northeast Sports Card Expo. Part of the reason I went up and set up at the Portland show a few years ago was to go to Maine Beer and hang out with my cousin. So Portland has a bunch of great restaurants and breweries and stuff like that.
You know what? It's funny because my old neighbor used to have a brewery, or he was a partnership in a brewery. And I think it was Portland. And he spent more time up there than he did at home.
Yep. Oh, Sports Card the Hobby. That's Michael. What's up, Michael? How are you? No Caitlin Clark comments, please. Keep them to yourselves.
Okay, she killed it last Saturday. She absolutely killed it last Saturday coming back. And I've been reading these conspiracy things saying that the WNBA and executives have been saying that they did this, they got this league going, and she goes out for 2 weeks with a soft tissue injury, and the ratings and everything go way down. And then she's back on Saturday, and the ratings are going through the roof again with her, back in the game. And I know a lot of it has to do with, and I think somebody had asked that question at one time. I remember reading that about, the calls and non-calls during the games with her, like, are they going to fix it? How is it going to change? What do you think? And I think this may be even part of trying to, correct it a little bit.
I just think like she's carrying the league like so heavily, and anyone who denies that is just living under a rock and delusional and not with reality. That's what I think. Because like, has it ever been more clear? Like honestly.
No, and let me tell you, she's carrying my hobby, my hobby right now. She's carrying me in the hobby with all the cards I'm buying and selling of her.
Yeah.
Right? Her alone. Without her, I mean, I don't even know where I'd be right now, who I'd be buying and selling right now. But she is definitely working out for me in the hobby and setting up at shows.
What's up, Billy? How's it going?
Billy is good. What's up, kid?
Yeah, it's just like, what's funny too is like, I know you were talking about like holding her stuff and not selling and all of that. And like, I just feel like you can just keep buying and selling it and it doesn't even matter. And you can just like, because I've bought and sold the same cards of hers for like months now. And it's like, it's just the same thing over and over again. Like
rinse and repeat.
It doesn't like, I get what you're saying. Cause like the numbered stuff, if you want to hold it and then like, cause I was looking at some of the sales. So they are going up like right now. It's really interesting. So like I have the red ice courtside select, right? The blaster one.
Yeah.
And when I sent it out, a PSA 10 was $450. And I just looked today, just curious, because I've graded that set quite a bit, so I'm like 99% sure mine will gem.
Mhm.
The last one just did 750.
Yeah.
And that's not numbered, and it's just the blaster exclude. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you that, and we've talked about this, anything that I have of her that is numbered, I'm holding on to, because I don't even know where the ceiling is on the numbered stuff, but the non-numbered stuff, I'm happy to do exactly what you just said. I'm happy to sell it, buy it, sell it, buy it, sell it, and just keep going back and forth and just playing the game, because I
Yeah.
don't think there's a ceiling yet. Hold on, we got a long thing here.
Mm.
Do you think it's interesting or otherwise that for all the attention she has brought to the league, the vast majority of other players do not seem to be benefiting, at least on the surface yet?
Well,
Um,
they're not benefiting card wise, but I would say in terms of like the league and financing and things like that, they probably are.
yeah, no, I know what he's saying, because I have a number of other players that I put out this week.
Card
Um,
wise, right? Not
Car yeah,
league. Okay.
player card wise, and I'll tell you, my if I had to tell you in order, Caitlin was by far number one. Being in Connecticut, Paige Beckers was number two
Sure.
in selling, and then number three, Sabrina Ionescu. She was a clear number three on there. And then I did sell other cards where people came in and said, "Oh, Nafisia Kali," or "She's my," but again, she was a
The UConn girl too. Yeah. Yeah.
UConn player.
Well,
Uh,
that's the whole. It's like the WNBA. Like every team has a few UConn players. It seems like so. It's just
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So yes, do I find no, but I think that what is going to happen and what happens in most sports and what most people think is, I wanna be involved in the hobby and getting cards, but because Caitlin's cards are so highly priced right now, the value is so high that I'm gonna start PCing somebody else. Who is my favorite player other than Caitlin Clark on any team? Let me start buying those cards. And I think we're starting to see that a lot now in the WNBA Facebook groups. Right, I see people asking for all these things. Even and I have to say, even Angel Reese cards sold for me this weekend that I had just sitting here in the office, and I knew they were playing the Sky. I knew she was going to be in the building that weekend, and I brought those cards in, and those cards sold well too. People came up asking for her.
Her prices have rebounded.
They haven't. They're not where they once were.
It was just a joke because
yeah, but you know what? The prices. If the prices were that bad, I would not have even brought them with me. The prices were okay. I was okay to sell those cards at that price.
See, I got an LOL. That was it. I
He
I don't
recorded
care.
a triple double last week.
Yeah, no.
She had to come beat up on the Connecticut Sun. It's like we're going to be the rebound game for all the other teams, the get right game for all the other teams in the WNBA.
Special one cards. Jordan, you get your Bill Buckner rookie yet? I was about to get it, and it went right between my legs as I tried to pick it up. Missed out on it.
I'm sure there's a joke in there.
Yeah. Do you know who Bill Buckner is?
But I'm sure the ball went. Was he the Red Sox guy that the ball went through his leg?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they didn't win
86
the
World Series. Yeah.
All right.
Should I file an eBay claim for that? Yeah. Maybe.
All right. Entertain. I got to grab something. I forgot to grab.
Yeah, Paolo. I don't know. I thought that was I thought that was clear as day. I mean, I wasn't even alive then. I wasn't even alive for that one, Ken. Come on.
Yeah, I was just born myself.
No, you were born like what? 2 years after that? After the 86 World Series?
Yeah. Now a year before. We can get it right.
All right, fine. Sorry.
All right. So I brought a card to share. Yes, I was definitely a hockey guy. I brought a card to share because I became that guy yesterday. that guy that I hate, that guy that I get so mad at when I see his posts on Instagram or Facebook, that I stopped at my local Target. There was one blaster left on the shelf, and I bought it, and I brought it home. And lo and behold, I hit an amazing dual auto of Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I was the guy I hate yesterday when I opened up that only blaster, and look what I hit, kid.
And guess what? We all hate you now.
Now I could be on the most hated list.
And it's the first time I didn't have a card to just say, oh, and look what I got. Because seemingly every single time it's that. But when you posted that, I was so tempted to be like, I should just go buy a blaster from Target and see what happens. How upset would you have been if I get like just the same thing but like number?
The Jaden Daniels 1 of 1.
Black. Yeah, no, that's crazy though. Like when you were opening it, did you just like no? Like it
was the first pack, and it was backwards. And I open up the pack, and I'm like, oh, it's an auto, and I'm expecting to see like Blake Corum or something, right? Or something worse. And as I flip it over, I'm like, oh man, it's a dual. And then I look at the names, and my hand starts shaking. I mean, I went right upstairs to Sherry, and I'm like, I did it finally. It wasn't you, it was me.
I know. Sherry's always pulling the heat. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous, honestly. I didn't even know, like, I haven't paid attention to Top Scrum football at all, to be honest with you. I didn't know there were like duels, but that's pretty great. And yeah, that you want to share that last comment? I hit autos and blasters, but never. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, you're like the first person I actually know that's not in like a massive Facebook group that posts like, oh, I hit this crazy card out of a blaster. I never know anyone who hits like the crazy cards out of the blaster. Yeah. So,
but yeah. I've seen this. I've seen this card. I've seen people like say, oh, my son pulled it or this. Like I've seen similar, with the Bo Nix dual auto and somebody else. So I've seen them. I knew they came out of blasters, but what are the chances of hitting a card like that out of a blaster at your local Target?
Yeah, crazy. There was a question earlier from Paulo actually that leads into our first little topic here. It's you guys going to Fanatics Fest, so I know you are, and why don't you tell us a little bit about what you plan on doing and what day, and give us the deets. What are you doing there?
Yeah. So originally, and I have to apologize to Billy is good. And Billy, I wasn't able to get back to you tonight. Obviously, I was racing across the state to get home for this. But originally, him and I were going on Friday. And then on Saturday, I was notified that Juju Watkins was going to be there doing an auto. So then I pulled up last night what day she's going to be there. So when I went in, I realized she was going to be there on Saturday, and I noticed that a lot of the autograph guests were starting to get sold out. So I had to think and make some decisions. So I decided that I bought an autograph, not only the autograph, but the JSA certification, and for her to personalize it. So I bought all that. I went and bought a jersey, USC jersey of hers, and I bought a Saturday ticket. So this is my day. It's reminding me, and I said this to you, it's reminding me of my Mike Tyson day when I went to Canada, and I ended up getting the Mike Tyson card, and I came back and he was going to be in Massachusetts, and I did all this, and it's kind of reminding me of that. And yes, I could go online when I was looking to buy one of her jerseys, and they're selling. It would have been cheaper for me to spend just to buy an autographed jersey and have it shipped to the house. But I think the whole experience of going down and meeting her and getting her to sign, and also an inscription. Like I get to choose. As far as I know, I bought an inscription. I get to choose what she writes on that. Right. So now it's going to be super personalized for me. And it's a moment that, and you even said, like you said one day, if you had a chance to have the card or go to the game, right? Where,
I would choose the experience every single time. And I was waiting for you to like, because I was just gonna say, like, you set up at shows like every weekend. Fanatics Fest is I don't want to say the card show part of it doesn't matter, but like when I think of Fanatics Fest, I think of how there's all the experiences there, and that's so much cooler, honestly, to me than the cards. Like,
yeah,
not that the cards aren't great and cool. It's just like we can go to shows every weekend. You can't go have those interactions and experiences every weekend. So for someone like you, who is, you started the podcast about your card show dealer journey, take a weekend and go do the experience part.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because like you have West Coast, the National, you have all these shows coming up. Like, the cards can take a day off, and
yeah.
it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah, and it really wasn't about the cards. And it's funny because a couple of people said to me, like, who reaching out to me, are you going? And yes,
Yeah.
I know I'm going on Saturday instead of Friday. And they said, oh, what card are you bringing for her to sign? And I was like, no, it's going to be a jersey. Like I thought basketball first, but I thought to myself, I don't want to be carrying a basketball around Fanatics Fest all day. I mean, that would just get tiring. So I thought the jersey was going to be best. And again, the whole experience, right? Get it autographed, get it home, frame it, put it on my office here in my office here. And it's a moment I'll never forget.
Yeah. No, I think that's the right
Yeah.
call. I think that's
Yeah.
definitely the right call. Because I know me and you were talking about what day you were going to go to, and you
Yep.
said Juju, and I was like, that's easy.
That's easy. And it may sound funny to people, but when you look at all these signings at all these places, and I go to all these big shows, very few female athletes or current athletes, maybe a lot of maybe retired female athletes you'll see at these shows. If you look at the national, I think all the athletes at the national, besides like wrestlers, they're generally retired athletes or athletes that aren't playing professionally anymore, not in their sport, right? So it's hard for, like, I'm a huge Trinity Rodman fan. She never, like, there's nowhere I've ever gone that she was going to be signing anything that I'd be able to do it. So when I get an opportunity like this for someone that I PC and I'm really all about that athlete, I'm super pumped to get in.
Kind of controversial because their relationship is not the best, but would you ever get Dennis Rodman to sign a Trinity Rodman card?
No. And I'll tell you what, I have a dual Dennis and Trinity, a dual auto.
Oh, that's cool.
Of there, and I sent it to PSA, and they sent it back that Dennis's autograph was a 7, Trinity's was a 10, and the card was a 10. So then I had
that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I had to send it back and have the autograph grade taken off, but now it's just a 10. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fanatics Fest, that's a plan. Are you gonna stop? Like, how much time is that going to take, do you think, for you to get that autograph?
I try to be early to things. It's later in the day, so I'm sure it's somewhere where I can be. I know. So here's an interesting thing. I know right before her autograph session starts, she's going to be on one of the stages, doing a talk. So I was thinking that would be cool to see that. But if I go to that and I'm in that, I'm probably not going to be able to be first in line at the autograph sign. But I know that starts at 3:30, and at 5:00 she's doing photos. So they're probably have figured out that it's an hour and a half of autographs, and here's the cutoff. That's why I'm starting to see people selling out. Like they're sold out where you can't buy the
Yeah. And are you going to try to so it's in the afternoon. I mean, you're going to get there first thing in the morning, right?
Yeah, I'll try to get there super early.
So you'll probably do like card stuff the whole day?
Well, everything, as much as I can. I wasn't there last year, so
you're going to run the 40?
What's that?
Run the 40?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm going to run the 40. might pop an Achilles or something.
You're gonna have a nice brace with Juju at those signings at 3:30.
You have to wheel me in the chair.
You know what you should do? You should do the WWE entrance with flames and everything going off. We could get a promo for Hobby Chop.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the whole day. I'm excited to go. It's a busy weekend for me. So I'm excited to go. Last year I didn't make Fanatics Fest because there was another show in Philadelphia where a lot of people bailed to go there, so there were booths available, and I did that. So this time, similar thing, Chantilly is happening, and I've been getting the emails. I'm on the waiting list for 2 days now with booths available. Just fill out the paperwork to come down. So I mean, if you're on the waiting list down there for Chantilly, you probably know what I mean. You're getting the option to have a booth for that show, but it's got to be tough for any of these shows to go up against Fanatics Fest.
Absolutely. But in the same breath, if you're around any of these shows and you're not going to Fanatics Fest, it may be in favor of the attendee because dealers are going to have less people buying from them. And some of them may be hard pressed to make some deals to make their money back from the weekend of setting up still. So,
and we're also thinking about this in the mindset of a card show, but I think that the card show at Fanatic Fest, and you can get me wrong, we got a number of people in the chat. If you were there last year, you can let me know. I think that's a very small part of the whole experience there, where a Chantilly or any of these other shows you go to are 100% cards, right? And that's what you're going for, where this is a whole experience with a whole lot of other things going on.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't go, and I'm not going this time. But I think from what I heard this time is they're trying to integrate the tables more. Yeah, Zwiddlebug said, I seem to recall that Philly show last year still had pretty solid attendance.
Yeah, we were set up together. Him and I were set up at the Philly show during Fanatics Fest last year.
Yeah, it won't kill it, but there'll definitely be less than there would be if it wasn't going on, I think. So yeah. And also I heard the Philly show is like mainly vintage. I feel like vintage and Fanatics.
Well, there was two show. There's two show. We were at the Fishtown show. Yeah, we were at the Fishtown show. So there's the Philly show and there's Fishtown. So Fishtown went up against this one last year, and that's one we were at. But yeah, it was definitely a solid experience, and a lot of people they were close enough that they did both. And I almost want to say that there was another the
Long Island National. I went to that, and it was I don't think I'm gonna go back to it. Yeah, but like I don't know. It was okay, the Long Island National, but basically I remember like as I was walking around that, everyone was like murmuring about how Fanatics Fest was awesome. Like I'm at the show, like the what is it? Yeah, the Long Island National, and they were like all the dealers, you could just hear them talking about Fanatics Fest this, Fanatics Fest that behind there.
Yeah. Vintage card collector. Only autographed guests that are sold out are wrestlers and a few Yankees. Literally no one else. And yes, I wasn't saying that everyone was sold out, but my thought was someone like her, I think, would sell out faster. I could be completely wrong. I could be absolutely completely wrong, but I had a feeling that she would sell out faster than some other people.
She's pretty popular. Yeah.
Even though she was injured, and she probably will not make it back on the court next year with the injury. I hope she does.
Wasn't it just the ACL?
Yeah, but it's usually a year. I mean, she did
ACL?
it.
And Achilles is like a year, and ACL is not.
No, for the women, it's generally a year.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Cameron Brink tore hers last year, I think in June. And here we are a year later, and they're talking July.
Okay.
For a July return for her. So, yeah.
It's like a 4 to 6 months thing.
Well, for some people,
Yeah.
for others not. I mean, I know I've seen it happen in the WNBA, and I've seen it happen now with college when.
So will she just redshirt and then be back the year after? Like,
I mean, I don't think it's
because she's
gonna.
a sophomore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So she'll be a junior, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy to think that she could be in college basketball for 3 more years.
I know.
It's insane.
Making a fortune, right?
I,
Unless they
she'll
revamp
make
that.
more than the WNBA. She'll
Yeah.
like 1 year probably at USC. She'll make more than her entire rookie contract. Not
Well,
probably, easily would.
well, right now it's 78,000, I think, but I
Yeah.
think by the time she gets there, it's going to be revamped. I think that whole WNBA going to be overhauled by the time she
They
gets
could revamp it, but they'd have to come up a bunch to try to outbid USC.
Yeah, yeah, or just the NIL contracts, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, especially her, like whenever she's back, she's the number 1 WNBA player. Not even close, right? Like,
Yep.
I mean, Sarah Strong's younger, but like Juju is the next one.
You mean the NCAA player, not WNBA?
Sorry, yes,
Yeah,
the NCAA. Yeah. Yep.
yeah. But you never know. Every year, right? Every year somebody comes out of the woodwork, and yeah, like look, Sarah Strong came out this year. Ozzie Fudd. I mean, Ozzie Fudd could be one of the top players. She could be one of the top players next year. You know, defending
that girl in Vanderbilt scored like 50 this year. She's a freshman.
Yeah.
So there's Michaela Blake's. Is that the name? Michaela. I just remember her from
that is the name of a player from Vanderbilt.
Michaela Blake's 50. Yeah, NCAA record 55 points this last year she had. Was it for a rookie? Women's freshman record for 55 points. That's what she had this year. So
that's what we call first-year college players, freshmen.
Rookie. Now we call them rookies.
They could be first bowmen.
But they're first, yeah. So yes, anything else you want to touch on for Fanatics Fest?
No, just looking forward to it. I do know, so I'm going to be bringing some cards to. So this is interesting, and I don't know if anybody else knows this. I got an email today from Fanatics Fest that said, you know, we're going to be accepting submissions for free at our Fanatics Collects booth. We will be offering instant curation for items submitted to us at the show. This means that our ops team will have your items curated in your Fanatics Collect account within hours after you've dropped them off to us. Also, you will receive 110% seller's rate on any items you submit to auction at the show that sell for more than $200. So
okay, hold up. Now, let's figure out what that means, because obviously I do consignment a lot.
yeah,
like, does that mean are they calling 110% the hammer and then 10% buyer's premium? Is that what they're calling that?
You know what? I'm just reading.
I'm not even trying to be a jerk or raining on a parade. Nope, I feel like it's a fair question.
You're coming at me with hammer comments that I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so before the buyer's premium, right? Which people like to throw around like it's not 80% plus 20%. Like come on. So before the buyer's premium, which is the additional 20% that is on the buyer. So is 100% before the 110? Is that 100% the hammer cost, which the hammer is like the actual bid number before buyer's premium?
I don't know.
Because usually it
says, I'll read it again. You will receive 110% seller's rate on any items you submit to auction at the show that sell for more than $200.
Honestly, Ken, I would just ask them I'd have them break it down for me when I'm there. Yeah. Sounds good. At the worst, in my mind, that means 90%. And you're like, do you following me when I'm saying that?
Yeah.
Which is still not bad. Like, it's still not bad at all. Yeah. But I would ask that.
Yeah, I just got, and we talked about this. I had already planned on bringing a couple cards down there, And then I got this email out of the blue today, or just before. I just saw it just before we
Yep.
live. So I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And
What do you want to tell people what you're bringing that you have in mind to put on that?
yeah, so I shared the card the other day. It's the Jaden Daniels, the Topps Chrome, the orange geometric to 25 on card auto. It's a PSA 1010. So I am going to bring it there to put in their auction.
Okay. Are you going to shop it around before going to that auction or no?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. You know, I don't want to spend a lot of time worrying about, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say here is that when you just said, look, you spend all your time at card shows, right? Go and enjoy the event. If I'm
Yeah.
going to go enjoy the event, I don't think, I think it's probably going to take me a half a day to try to shop that car around 250 tables, right? To try. And if we're starting to get close, you know how these things drag out. And I don't want to spend all my time trying to negotiate a deal when I could be enjoying a lot of other things there,
Yeah.
and let the professionals take care of the
Well, I guess part of it too is the live submission too. That's an experience in itself too to
yeah,
submit
yep,
it in person. So I was just gonna say jokingly like, oh, you don't want to go get 100% comp offer and then shop it around the room and come back that you got a little more and then the dealer comes back. I love that, by the way, because I love that it sounds like the person that was trying to sell you that card assumed that you had an offer that was just standing like
yeah.
no, you walked it around.
Yeah.
Like clear
I
like
I see that a lot. I give people a strong offer, and the problem is people are like, "Oh my god, this guy gave me a strong offer. The card must be worth more."
yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the thought in their mind. And I think to myself, I'm giving you and I tell people I'm giving you a strong offer because I don't want you to walk away. I want the card. I'm not going
Yeah.
to go any higher. And when I give you a strong offer, more than anybody else is probably going to offer you, and you come back and ask me for $20 more, I'm done with. Absolutely done.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
obnoxious, especially like when you paid the last comp. Like that's
Yeah, yeah,
that's that's obnoxious.
yeah.
So
So,
I wish I was there for that. I really do. I think that like that's another reason why I do so much online is like I those interactions they just make my blood boil sometimes, honestly.
yeah,
Just like it's not a patience thing either. It's like we both know what's going on here. Just let's it's like we're being fair. Let's finish this up. It's just like
yeah,
it feels like it's a waste of time. Like with how long, like I know how long was the conversation? I forget exactly, but it's the
yeah. I
way you
think it's
explained it seemed like it was a while.
yeah, it's like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're at this huge show with a ton of
yeah.
cards. You could be
Yeah.
selling, you could
I'll,
be
I'll
buying.
tell you what. I'll tell you what, Jordan, and if Zwittlebug cards are still on here, late in that day, I had somebody else come back to that table 3 times on one card, right? That the card last sold, and it was an Angel Reese card. The card last sold at $155, and I told him I would give it to him for $120, and he just kept 110, 112, 113, and he got to 150. And the last time he came back to the table, he said 115. And I said 120. I mean, it's the card last sold. And he says, all right, I'm going to think about it. I'm probably going to get it. And he walked away. He never came back. I'm like, okay. So there's things that happen at shows that, and if there's dealers, listening, I mean, this stuff happens. Sometimes people like to negotiate, not like they really want to buy the car. They just want to see how far they could push you, like honing their skills or something, for the big day when it does matter, right? So I think it's important for us as dealers to know whether it's the first sale of the day or the last sale of the day, to have a number that we need to be on, and to stand firm on that number, even if it means losing a deal for $5 or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't envy dealers for the selling. I'll tell you that. I envy dealers for the buying and the opportunities that walk
Yeah,
up because
yeah,
the the selling seems so like just such a headache most of the times. You know, unless there's a few buyers that we all know that are great, reliable, fair, and to the point. Like it just you got more patience than me, that's for sure.
Yeah. Vintage card collector. He has a great question here. He said, Ken, would you attend Fanatics Fest if it wasn't in New York City where there's a ton to do? What if it was in Cleveland?
What if
So
it was in Omaha?
here's an interesting thing. I'm going to the city, right, just to go to Fanatics Fest. Even though I live in Connecticut, I had to get schooled on somebody telling me I couldn't take a train to the Javits Center, that the trains don't go that way, right?
Well, I think another thing to this too, Ken, though, is like Cleveland and New York City are really different for us being in Connecticut. So
But
that's like
I think he's just throwing Cleveland out there, right? And when I read this, my first answer to this was depending on where it was. Is it somewhere where I would want to go? So they had one in Orlando, and I thought to myself, I would go to Orlando,
yeah,
right? I would
Tweed.
go to
Yeah.
Florida. I would go to Texas. I would, especially if it's a state, maybe Arizona, especially if it's a state I've never been before, that I could go and see a few other things, or kind of just say that, or maybe if I've been there, but it's a different place,
Yeah.
things like that. I just came back from Cleveland, right? So if it was in Cleveland this year, I'd probably be like, I'll probably pass because I was just in Cleveland for the national. But if it was this year in a place where I thought to myself, that's a great place to go, yeah, I'd make a weekend of it. I kind of did this for the West Coast Card Show in August. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. It's a lot of expenses. It's travel. There's a lot behind it. But I just thought to myself, here's a show and an area I really want to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I'm not going, but I'll tell you, New York City for me is a deterrent. It's not like a draw. Like the last thing I want to do is go try to get in and out of New York City because I graduated at Adelphi in Long Island, and I only went into New York City a handful of times because it's just like it's a hassle. There's so many people. It's crowded. I've heard the Javits Center is like beautiful and amazing, which is great. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about getting there, probably paying like $150 for parking, which is hyperbolic, but you know what I'm saying. And then like driving home and then getting hit by like an additional like $125 in tolls on the way back with the bridges, and it's just like
it's an experience, man. You got something hanging on the wall when you get home.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you experiencing that. I lived in the New York area, and if it was in Boston, I'd be all over it.
Yeah.
The congestion tolls. That's right. Yeah. That's right, Rich.
And they charge you that for parking too. Isn't there a congestion fee for parking as well?
No, probably. I'm not a fan of New York, so I just probably.
All right, so we were just talking about being at Mohegan this weekend, and something you and I talked about extensively after Saturday night after the show, and again, in the last couple of days, is kind of something you were doing earlier that you kind of got away from, and you got back into it this weekend, and then you were like, man, I forgot how much fun this was. So I think that a lot of other people that go to these shows, there's a good amount that are going to agree with you, and then there's a people like me who say, man, do I really have time to do that? I'd rather go for the sure thing sometimes. So why don't you just talk a little bit about what you were doing at the show, and something that you've kind of been really polishing your skills on this over the last year or so.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I built capital to buy out collections, and it was like digging through value boxes, just making these massive piles from dealers, and then a lot of times, I'd pick a few out, make sure I like some cards that are there, and then I'll ask if I'm like, hey, if I make like a substantial like stack here, will you work with me? And I'd say like 97, 98% of the time it's
Yeah.
yeah,
People
absolutely.
say that to me all the time. I'm saying 100%.
Yeah,
The more you buy, the more you save.
exactly. And what I've found is that so I think like there's a lot of ways you can go with it. It depends on like what you want to do with the cards. For me, it was just picking up a lot of like big names, flashy looking cards to try to give a shot at grading and then selling, right? And maybe it's not exciting for a lot of people, but like if you're averaging a cost of around $3 to $5 on these cards, and then you're grading them for like 19 each, then you know the gems could be anywhere from like, let's be honest, like $40 to like could be some could be a crazy multiplier on that. And just for me, it's like the dollars may not be as much as the like the bigger cards, like the actual dollar amount per cards that you're gonna make, like per card. Like if you buy a downtown at $800 and flip it for 1,100, like you may not make $300 on a card, but the percentage is not even close to the amount of money you're making on your money. So I spent like $2,500 in just value bins, which you saw how many cards I had. It was unreal. Like I came with an empty, it's not a Zion box, but like a case, an empty like 3-row case. And I just basically filled it before leaving. And it's all processed and gone to where it's going already. So it was probably like, I don't know, probably like 300 cards ish that I picked up.
Yeah.
And you know the names are like, just really quick, the majority of names are LeBron, Kobe, Michael Jordan, Aaron Judge, Otani, Shea, Gilgeous-Alexander, the QBs, like that sort of stuff. And it's just like, is it the most exciting thing to do? No, but it's something that I think if people really like stay true to and like grind it out, you can build yourself up pretty quick to then have more freedom to take bigger risks on cards. Like another thing too is like I'm digging in these value boxes, and like the it's so funny because like I have massive cards out at PSA right now, and I'm like I am literally just digging through these, trying to grind over the you know the margins pretty much. And it's so funny you say the consistent or whatever. I feel like this is more consistent to do it than.
Well, you have a good eye
bigger
too. You have a really good eye at looking at cars to know if they're going to do well,
Yeah.
for grading.
Mhm.
So out of these, I don't even remember if you gave a number, how many of these cards, out of these cards, how many were processed that you were going to be graded, and how many are back just to be being sold as raw?
I'm grading 60. Yeah, I said 300 as an estimate of cards that I picked up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that I did not count. I don't know if that's too many, but 60. And I wasn't like taking cards out to look over them at the show. Like it just wouldn't have been worth the time. But like when you're buying these huge stacks, realistically, you're probably getting them at like 60 to 75% on the cards. So, then I can choose to do a lot of things with them. If I want to sell them to certain whatnot people, I can. If I want to auction them off on consignment, I can. Either way, should be fine.
Yeah.
And for me, when you're buying those value box cards, I think it's really important to buy an insane amount, like a bulk amount, so you can get the deal. Because if you don't, and you're just paying like $2 for a $2 card or $5 for a $5 card, like then it's really not making sense. Like, and
yeah, but I think most people, and I'm the same I'm the same guy, right? Same thing. I'm set up. I've got singles boxes, and if you come up, hey, if I take a bunch of these, you make a deal, right?
Yep.
You come up and you buy $80 worth of stuff. You're gonna get it for $50 or $60, right? something like that. And that $80 is probably more realistically 90 or $100, right? That you're getting for
Yep.
half the price.
Mhm.
So even at that point, if you get the card back and you say, this is just not gradable, and it goes to consignment wherever you're sending it, that consignment is probably going to get 100% of that card, right? Or
Right.
could do even better. And
Yeah.
once they take their cut, you're still in the green, right? You're still
Yeah.
positive on
Mhm.
that card. So it's not like you're taking any big risks. Whereas you go out and you buy, a kaboom or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the player gets benched, gets injured, does you know what I'm saying? All of a
Yeah.
sudden you could get hurt pretty quick that way. Now it's feast or famine, right? You could get that kaboom and make $500 quickly.
Right.
Whereas you're taking these cards, you're sending them for grading. We're waiting for them to come back. You're hoping they're tens. You don't know. You're in that unknown. You're in that void, right? Where I'm sitting here with 200 cards at PSA. I'm in a void. I have no idea how they're grading and how they're going to come back. So I really can't say I have this much in cards. I could be card rich or card poor. I have no idea until these cards come back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big part to that equation of what I'm doing is like, I don't remember the last time I've been like really off on a submission of like grades. Like usually when I send it, like if I send something, it's usually going to be a 9 at least. Like I can pretty much reliably say that, unless it's like some of the older stuff, like early 2000s, 90s stuff. Like I can be off on that if it's just a set I'm not familiar with. But like a lot of those cards in that era, if you get a 9, it's kind of like you got a 10 for a lot of the ultra modern stuff. If it's like Kobe and Jordan, like 9s are still a win.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like
But
Caitlin Prism.
well, yeah, dude. Like I found a bunch of Caitlin Clark in the value boxes too, and it's just like a bunch of them were the Panini Instant cards, and I told you, there was a Panini Instant card I had never seen before, which you were familiar with. It was the rated rookie, the rated retro rookie.
Yep.
And it's like $175 in the 10. So
Yep.
yeah, like I mean, I just think a lot of the hobby is like too lazy to do the work like that. And
But it's a lot. It's not. I don't even want to call it lazy. Like you're
dude,
lazy.
it took me like 2.5 hours to go through
Lazy to
all the
go
stuff.
through the box, right? You're right. Lazy to go through the box. But on the opposite hand is what I just explained. A lot of people don't have the capital to say, I'm going to get all these cards and then I'm just going to send them off to PSA and I'm going to wait 3 months or 4 months for them to come back. And that's money that's just tied up, right? If you're buying them all and you're grading, you send them all off for grading, that's money that's just tied up. You're just waiting and you have no idea, right? Until that comes back. You have to say, it's like buying a stock. I'm going to buy this stock or I'm going to buy this and I'm going to wait 3 or 4 months and hope that it goes up, right? But you have no idea. And I understand, and people say this to me all the time, is like, I can't tie up all that money for that many months, right? I can send a few cards off, this or that, but if I make this my business, that's a lot of money being tied up. What people have changed doing is digging and pulling out those cards and selling them immediately to a whatnotter,
Yeah.
right? Somebody that they have that they say, look, I got all these cards. So if us as dealers, we don't have a whatnot, starting at $1 person in our back pocket, we're just throwing all these cards in a box, and somebody else is coming by, and even like we see this weekend, a bunch of people that run whatnot streams are digging through
Yeah.
boxes
Yeah.
that are themselves.
I just think that, not I think, just people leaving money on the table, and it's fine. I mean, it's just like, and it's not even judgment because I just went and did it and it works for me. Like it's just like I feel if people just, I don't know, man, because it's like a lot of these dealers who they want to hold the cards an extra month because they think it's going to go up like $20. And it's like, yeah, but in the same respect, you're just handing away all this money. It's it's like perspective. It's illogical to me, tell you that. And also, like, you're right about the capital, because I did do this a lot to build up capital. But for me, I also understood that as I'm doing this, like, I have PSA orders popping like every single week. And that's how it continues to go. Yeah. So for me, like, I end up feeling anxious if I don't send out like an order once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because I want to keep that like revolving door just constantly, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I try to do that. I've gotten to a point now where I'm sending more 20 card, 22 card orders instead of the 40.
That's like the minimum I shoot for is 20. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll get through quicker and they'll come back quicker. And, you know, who knows?
I have been utilizing Value Plus and it's had decent turnaround.
Value Plus is 15 days or 20 days. I think it's 20 days. Yeah. And I know there's no discounts now because we're at that national window now. Then, you know, that people are just trying to get their cars. I just pulled this car, this dual auto here, and I'm going to ship that in the morning and try to put it so I can get it graded and have it back for the national.
I will look on my PC account that I have a Value Plus and QA2, give you a realistic timeline. So Research and ID was on May 15th, and then on 6/11 it went to QA2. So the grade is available. It was available on 6/11. I just haven't seen it yet with how PC Sports Cards is. As it gets shipped back, you don't get the grade until the day before it arrives from the USPS label. But the grade is available.
Okay.
I don't have it. So
that's the plus. That's the
Value Plus. Yeah. It was like $40.
Yep. I think that was the May special, right? It's usually 59, but the May special was like 39 or something.
I don't know about that because I don't work with PSA directly. It's always 40 through them though.
Yeah.
And I sent some like downtowns and a color blast that wouldn't meet a certain threshold, but I want it back just quicker because and it's worked out seemingly pretty well. Like I'm happy with that turnaround time all day for $40.
Yeah. As long as it's worth it, as long as it makes sense with the card, right?
Yeah. Because I think, what is that one? I think that one's like it's a Deion Sanders downtown that my wife pulled. So that'd be
a little competition now.
Yeah. Yep. Because I pulled the Bo Nix dual downtown that I sold last night for like I sold that for $1,900. It was PSA 10. Not bad.
Nice.
Not bad. Yeah. So I just see the comments. Do we still have people in the chat?
We do. We have 26 people in here watching.
Wow. That's a surprise because I'm not even looking at that number. That's great. Yeah. Should we get spammed with rapid fire questions for a little bit?
Well, we're at 53 minutes, so let's
fire away.
Let's get to the listener questions. Get some questions in here.
And again, Michael, no Caitlin Clark out of you. I don't want to see the letter C in a message from you if you're still here. I thought we were going to get canceled for a second when that all happened. I was like, well, that was a short run.
I got a email from Panini today that you remember the blaster, the Don Russ,
the video,
where I made the video where there were no hit cards in the. So I got a thing today saying that they're sending me replacement boxes, six replacement boxes, of all.
What are you gonna do if they're just more full of base? I would actually applaud that. You bet. You need to film it. Whatever they send you need to film it.
I just have a feeling that sometimes when you get that stuff straight from the manufacturer like that, there's some decent hits in there. That's why when I ordered the tops,
the Bowman content influencer loaded boxes there. Yeah.
The Bowman U basketball case that was loaded up. I had the Derek Queen Superfractor 101. I had the uh, I can't even Cooper flag. I had
The logo. Yeah.
the Duke logo. So yeah, there were some, and it just seems when I order cases directly from them, they're always much better cases than stuff I get from, third party.
So you have to film it and you have to let Sherry open it. If you do that, you'll be fine.
I'll be on the camera.
Yep.
Swiddlebug card says guaranteed juice.
Hope so.
I hope so. I hope they're full of downtowns.
I know. Imagine that instead of base cards, they're all just downtowns.
I thought of that. Could you imagine if there was one box or a couple boxes out there that were just all hit cards?
Like in Pokemon, they call it the God Pack. You get the Donruss God Pack.
Yeah. No. No. One other thing. Entertain. I'm just gonna grab.
He's going to get a God Pack that he got because he's an influencer. It's most likely what's going on right now.
I said
Bill couldn't help yourself. Bill could not help himself. He had to just put in the words downtown. That's it. Could not help himself. It's all right. We understand.
So my first submission through PC Sports Cards that went to BGS, right? I really got good grades that came back. Jermaine Burton, black 1 of 1, 9.5. And it is actually black.
I was just gonna say it.
my Paige Beckers, the Jungle, the Panini Instant Jungle. That's green, even though
it's black Jungle. Yeah, it's
9.5. The glass card. It's a glass card. It should be a perfect 10, right? It's 10, 9.5, 10, 9.5. It comes back a 9.5. The Ricky Pearsall glass card.
Nice.
Do you remember this guy, Tyson Bagent?
Yep.
Look at that patch.
That's pretty sweet.
It's RPA 9, 10 auto. Michael Penix Jr. auto 10 auto 9 is absolute. Joe Milton explosive 9. Bo Nix Disco Prism.
You actually inspired me because I sent my first BGS card out in the last years. I sent pretty nice one.
Isaac Arendo, Purple Power, RPA auto 910. And this is the card I went to get, and I didn't want to stand over there and dig through the pile. But just a little explanation was this card I got Zwiddlebug's break. I won this card. It's a Michael Penix Jr. Silver Prism. And he sent it to me, and the card was absolutely perfect. And we both agreed that it's probably one of the nicest Prism cards we saw. Silver Prism. I sent it to PSA. It came back a 7. A 7. I'm like, how can this card be a 7? I immediately cracked. I was so upset. I cracked it out, and I was sending this order. I said, you know what? I'm going to send this to BGS with the other order. This card came back a 9.5 with 4 9.5s.
Ken, you know what would be interesting for the content now? When you go out to National, you should see if you can cross that to a PSA 10. Why not? That'd be beautiful.
Somehow, everyone I've talked to, and have you ever heard of anybody taking a BGS 9.5 and crossing it to a 10, where they given them the slab that says 9.5 and said, "Will you make this? Could you make this a 10?" Because everyone that I know has ever tried to do that, they've been no, it can't be a 10. But when the people crack it out and send it out, then it could come back a 10. But when I never heard of anybody going to PSA with a BGS all 9.5s and say, "Will you make this a 10?" I've never heard of anybody being successfully getting that a 10.
Not personally, no. Not personally do I know anyone.
Bill says, how long did it take with BGS? It didn't take that long.
What service did you send to that?
It went out on April 16th. I remember. It's just BGS. It's just one service, I think,
Okay.
or just the base, whatever the regular
Base.
service
Yeah,
is.
yeah, the base. Okay.
And I got it back yesterday.
Okay.
So it was almost 2 months to the day that it took me through them to get these cards back. I don't know if I sent them on my own, if it would be any different or any better. I've never sent cards to BGS, and these were cards, and you could see as I go through this, like Isaac Garendo and Tyson Badgett. I mean, these are cards that are sitting here that I thought to myself, if I send them to PSA, they're probably going to get very low grades. I'll send them to BGS and see what happens with them, and then I just have the cards. If any of these players go off at all, right? At least I have the card graded that I could
Yeah, for
sell.
sure.
Yeah.
I sent the optic Anthony Edwards gold wave that I picked up. I sent that to BGS. Had a little, like a tiny surface scratch in the bottom that I thought would make it an automatic 9 for PSA. But I thought everything else looked really good, so I'm trying to play the 9-5 game with it, which would also probably look good gold wave and with the gold label. It probably look decent. But I just sent that out today.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was the Jaden Daniels. The 1010 that's going to go to Fanatics Collect. And also I think I might bring this Derek Queen Superfractor 101 auto
For the auction.
Yeah, to put it to auction. I don't know when is the draft is like the 28th. So I don't know if it'll hit the auction that quickly, but
I mean, even if it goes up right after the draft, it's probably fine. Like
yeah.
that timing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Jeremiah Wilson, would a BGS 9.5 equate to a PSA 9 in terms of pricing? Great question. I think that's card dependent, but in my mind, or at least how I feel, a BGS 9.5 should be a bit more between a PSA 9. In a perfect world, I think a BGS 9.5 would be smack dab in the middle of a PSA 10 and a PSA 9.
Jeremiah, I'm going to tell you it depends on what you're doing. If you're selling the card,
that's right.
You want it to be more. And if you're buying the card, and I'll tell you, I've had these cards that I'm selling, and I've had people on the other side of the table try to convince me that a BGS 9.5 is a PSA 9 price, right? So it depends on what side of the table or what side of the aisle you're on, whether you're buying or selling. But I think if it comes down to a player that's more sought after, if it's a Mahomes or a Caitlin Clark or something along those lines, I think you could get a better value for it versus if it's just an ordinary everyday player. I think you're probably going to be pushed down to a PSA 9 pricing.
For sure. Like, that's a great point. I think when it comes to like the bigger, more important cards, that 9.5 really does get the bump compared to like if they're silvers. No, like you went from a 7 to a 9.5, so that's great. But like you know what I'm saying too, right? Like if it was the true gold prism, a BGS 9.5, I would really assume would outsell a PSA 9 by a significant margin.
Yeah.
Oh, some that I saw on Instagram today. I think it was the Bankers Break. I might have butchered that name. They were opening Select Hobby and pulled the black no huddle, like the H2 exclusive black 1 of 1 from the hobby, and it's supposed to be exclusively not in those boxes. How ridiculous is that?
I know you said I was about to say I saw that, but I know you sent me that video.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. It's so insane to me.
Yeah.
I think we just got a question come in here.
Yeah, it says, do either of you see many tag graded cards at shows? I don't. I know when they were coming out, when tag was ramping up and selling spots, people were very excited, but I don't know what happened. I thought for sure by now we would see a lot more tag graded cards in cases, and I don't see them at all.
Agree, and I think especially with how much AI is like implementing into our daily lives. Like Tag should be like undisputedly the grading company. It's no bias. Yeah,
I'm not
right.
sure if it graded too well that
But
people
you
were.
know what I mean, though. In theory, like just that should be the best because
Yep.
it takes out the human subjectiveness. Just
Yeah.
um, and I bet you it works a lot quicker. I just picture my grader coming off of a lunch from In-N-Out Burger out in California, sweaty ketchup hands. Like, oh, what is this thing? It's like, oh, it's a 9. I got to run to the bathroom. Like, that's what I picture happening. Yeah.
There goes that PSA sponsorship.
I'm still going to send a PSA, by the way.
Zwittlebug Cards, on the topic of grading companies, why doesn't CGC get more love for sports cards given their widespread in the TCG market?
I do like their slabs. Do you ever feel them? Hold up. I actually think I have a. Look at this. Hold up.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I used to think the was it HGH, whatever.
No, HGH is a PED, human growth hormone. That's what HGH is, Ken.
What was the other one? The G. What was the other grading company?
HGA, where they had the custom labels.
Yeah, HGA. I used to like their.
Look at this beauty. A CGC 8 Paolo Banchero Recon. Wow. You want to put this up next to your Jaden Daniels so we could show off these really high-end slabs here? Ooh, yeah, no. But the like the plastic is really hard and really clear. Like it's sturdy. It's nice. Like the actual product is nice rather than like you have the SGC cards that you literally could take a butter knife and just like crack open through the side. And
yeah,
then,
well, I'd rather have the ability to crack it open. I know it was, Bill here said rare grading slabs are the best quality, but I think they're probably almost indestructible, right? I've never tried to crack one, but didn't I see something on YouTube?
I've actually never got to hold one because of how rare they are. I've never come across one.
But I think they're supposed to be like you can't break them open or indestructible or something. If I remember.
This is what I think about Unbreakable. My mom gave me a story when she was younger. She brought her Unbreakable thermos to school. She had soup that my grandmother had made for her, and all the kids egged her on that, about it being unbreakable. So my mom took it and threw it against the brick wall, and guess what? It was breakable. If you throw that rare slab against a brick wall, bet you could break it. Just saying.
Well, it doesn't matter. We used to buy those indestructible toys for my pit bull, and they used to say, "Oh, it's indestructible warranty," and give it to them. Come back the next day, it's all torn apart, and they just keep giving me new ones till they give me my money back. But nobody.
Yeah, no one's ever selling me on Unbreakable. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think AI for grading will be the norm in the next 5 years? I heard a new grading AI company will be at Fanatics with machines to demo. So that's interesting. You know what? I would like to say yes, AI will be the norm in grading, but I think if it grades too well, too perfectly, that our pop counts are going to be off.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, you're right, but I think right now that if you go look at a lot of this stuff, these pop counts, these 9s and 10s, it's like controlling the market. You can start to see that the numbers are staying the same or staying very close. You're not getting a 10 way up here and a 9 or a 9 up here and a 10 down. They seem to, I don't know, control. I think there's a lot that happens behind the scenes with the grading companies, and if you put it into AI, there will be no control over that. And one, I think if cards start getting, graded poorly because, a lot of, we've all seen PSA 10s that have a dinged corner or a mark on it or something is visibly through the slab that if you cracked it out and sent it back, it would never come back a 10 again. Whether that damage happened why after it was already slabbed or it got slabbed that way.
Right. Yeah, I'm all for the AI stuff, to be honest with you, when it comes to grading, because it would probably affect me and how I do things, but I just think if we want grading to be truly what it is about, like, condition of cards, I think we should strive for that to be the best that it can be. It would be funny though, because people have all these AI, conspiracies about AI taking over, and it would be funny if AI started to try to mimic current graders and have, like, you have your bad AI grader day. Like, they had a bad, like, their girlfriend just broke up with them. Then they're just going to grade these cards poorly. You just get like a sassy AI that's grading. Be interesting. Depends on how you feel about AI. See, because the Chris from Card Ladder would love to have him talking about this, because they're like enamored with AI. I always love listening to their little AI bits on the crossover.
So just newsflash, just came in. It says AGS robo grading, TCG and sports cards AI grading. We're heading to Fanatics Fest. Meet AGS at one of the biggest collector events of the year. So Jeremiah, I think that's what you were talking about. AGS robo grading.
Ken, try to get him on.
Yeah,
tell me that wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah,
that'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting.
I'm on it.
Yeah. And Juju Watkins, see if she can come on.
Yeah, well, that's not happening.
You never know.
Hodges 1455. I think for modern AI grading will become the norm. I would imagine it taking a while before we see AI grading for vintage. And again, he's probably right, because I think the vintage, there's probably what we're grading in ultra modern, that there's thousands of the same cards coming in every day, versus vintage that they're, kind of basic, grading on a curve, right? I would think they're grading on a curve with vintage.
Doesn't it feel like there's just different standards for vintage versus modern? Do you feel that way? Like, you see it like your Penix 7. What do you think? What do you think a 52 mantle of that would look like in a 7?
Yeah, but if there was as many 52 mantles as there are Michael Penix Jr. cards, right, then they would be grading that differently as well. I think it's the rare and scarce cards that they have to grade those on a curve. That they have to figure, okay, here's a picture of a 10, right? And here's a picture of a 1, and now we have to figure out what the standards are from 2 to 9.
I don't like that. I hear you.
A lot of times you hear people say, with vintage, it shows we're not looking at the grade, we're looking at the eye appeal, the centering, all this other stuff. So
I don't even get the eye appeal. So whenever I have a vintage card and I go to post it, I just in parentheses put great eye appeal, and I have no idea if it has great eye appeal or not, but someone may feel that way. I have no idea. So I just go great eye appeal always.
All right.
One person commented one time and was like, it doesn't have great eye appeal. I was like, well, it's subjective. So.
All right. So Vintage Card Collector says 100 times more variability grading vintage compared to ultra modern. So it's exactly what I missed one here.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Joe S. Love the podcast. I just bought a large card, 2000. Wow.
That's a big card.
Bowman Chrome Refractor Brady and a PSA 7. It looks to be a clear 8-9. I don't have the balls to crack and grade. Have you used the PSA review service? I have not, but if I was going to use them, I would use them at a show where I would take the card and walk in there and give it to them and collect the card back. I wouldn't on a card like that. Honestly, I don't think I'd sleep well at night shipping.
You have your own experience with a Brady, huh? A Brady Bowman.
Yeah.
Way lower stakes, but still.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I would say, yeah, give it a shot, but I would carry it to, the National or wherever they were going to be able to. And just because their PSAs at a show doesn't mean they're doing that. I know the National. I'm sure the West Coast Card Show, they're going to be doing it there. Just a number of shows that they'll do it at. But yeah, if I was going to do it, I would certainly hand carry it there.
Yeah, yeah. And he goes, I totally hear you guys also don't have the balls. Yeah, no, I wouldn't ship it either. And if I did, I'd have like 4 air tags in the package. Yeah, no. Definitely an in-person thing, and that's tough. I mean, see, I would have the balls to crack it. But that's also, I'm delusional with that. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's in a 7 now, right?
And that's a fair point he just made too. I just don't know if the PSA review service ever gets a higher grade. I would say the strong majority is that's probably true.
Yeah. And PSA knows, right? They know, just like if a card like that raw showed up at my table, I'd know this card's been graded before. There's no way that this card has never been sent to grading, right? So PSA knows the card's been grading, and I think on their end, they have to figure out, what are you trying to achieve? It's not a numbered card, right? So what are you trying to achieve? Was this an 8 and you're trying to get a 9? Was it a 9? You're trying to get it a 10? Was it a 7? So if the card was undergraded, you may get lucky and they'll think, well, this was, maybe it was an 8 or maybe it was a 9, and try to get back to where it was.
Yeah. That's true. You crack it out and like, oh, this guy's trying to bump an 8. They gave you an 8. You'd be fired up. You're like, oh yeah, oh, you only gave me the 8. Oh man. Well, thanks anyways. That'd be fantastic. Either way, Joe, please let us know what, like, the journey of that. I'm very I'd love to hear and be kept up on that. I'm curious how that goes.
Yeah.
And then Jeremiah had another question.
With the controversy with Whatnot this year, do you think they will have a huge presence at the 100%? They will, and I don't think anybody even cares about that controversy. Not when you see this guy, right back breaking and whatever. It's one thing. You know what? We've talked about this all along. It's like beating a horse, a dead horse. That there's no rules. This is the Wild West, and we see people that do some crazy, stupid stuff in this hobby, and then a month later they just come back and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm sorry, I messed up, but I'm back." And too bad.
I'm gonna paraphrase Mike Geo from Sports Card Nonsense. He's like, "Yeah, all you got to do in sports cards is, if you do something scummy, you apologize, and then just back to business as usual, and everyone forgets in a week."
Yeah,
and it like there's a huge amount of truth to that.
We see it all the time.
And also too, like, I think it's important. Like, Whatnot is massive. Like Backyard, or that whole situation, terrible. I don't think anyone's denying that, but like, Whatnot is so huge that like they're gonna keep their business moving forward regardless.
Yeah.
It's just,
and their breaks never stopped. And when the guy came, I mean, if the hobby really cared, when he came back on the break, people should just went to a different room.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Go somewhere else. But
I think there's a lot of good like Whatnot streamers on there, like, that I go in occasionally, and they're good. There's good people on there too. So, but like, if it's your business, like, you're gonna be at the national, like, you're gonna. And honestly, in the past nationals I've gone to, the Whatnot space was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think they'll definitely be there and have a huge presence. I won't be there, so Ken will have to tell me about it.
I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
All right. Getting down. Thanks, Joe. Definitely keep us updated. Let us know what you do with that card. And if you're selling it, no, I'm just kidding. I'll bring to my Kraken station over here.
Sell it to Ken.
Release the Kraken.
Get a 6. It's like the last with the Bowman. Oh my Lord, that was brutal.
Next week, we hope we're going to have a guest, but we are we're gonna have to record it because the guest
Yeah.
won't be available at Tuesday night at 8:15. So we will not be live next week, unless the guest can't get in next week. Then you'll either bring another one in or we'll go live. But either way, you'll be notified. You'll look for our stories that we put up.
Yep. Yeah,
And
well, everyone, thanks for that
yep.
stopped in and message. Thanks for popping in and saying hey. I've enjoyed the lives. I would like to continue doing this like as much as we can. It's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Definitely having a good time doing this, and I love the interaction too. I love the people being in here because it
Yeah, it's
definitely
great.
brings a different element, immediate element of questions. So a lot of times we do this and then we post it, and then people ask questions afterwards, right? So here, if you're listening, it's easier to get the questions out, or somebody could probably ask the question that you're thinking as we're going
It's
through.
also nice if we're like just a little bit off on a certain details, or like someone else can like just check it and like get the full details while we're going live. So we make sure we're putting out, because obviously we can't know everything. I don't think we would ever try to act like we do or can. But like it's just nice to have the help of everyone too, of like, hey, you missed this important detail. Definitely nice. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. I'll say thanks for listening because I'm going to throw this up on the podcast, and like, subscribe. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Zip, take it easy, buddy.
I'll see you soon.